Isn't it fascinating how every contrast, every shift, every experience of pain versus bliss, it's not just a random fluctuation, but a pattern, a message, a key. Because if the lows only existed to pull you down, wouldn't they just keep going? Wouldn't they spiral endlessly? And yet they don't. Because within every drop is the seed of a rise. Within every restriction, an opening. And within every moment of struggle, a doorway to transformation. And maybe, just maybe, you're starting to see it now. You weren't chasing the bliss. You were learning from it. You were given glimpses of the truth, of who you really are, when you step beyond the noise, beyond the conditioned beliefs, beyond the old structures that told you this world is fixed, the reality is rigid, the joy must be earned or stumbled upon. What if it was never something outside of you? What if every limitation, every fear, every moment of doubt was not a wall but a veil? A thin illusion that dissolves the moment you question it. The moment you ask, what specifically is stopping me from living this way right now? And isn't it funny how the mind tries to hold on to these old patterns? These beliefs that tell you that you're stuck, that tell you that you're separate, that tell you life is something to suffer through. What happens when you stop believing in those limitations? What happens when you recognize that every blissful state that you ever reached was not a fleeting high, but a reminder, a message from the future self, showing you what's possible, showing you the version of you that already exists, the one who already lives in clarity, confidence, love and abundance. And as you feel that now, as you notice how easy it is to simply let go of the old restrictions, you might start to notice something else. The more you release, the better it gets. The more you shed the weight of the past, the higher you rise. The more you allow yourself to move forward without resistance, the faster the momentum builds. And you might begin to wonder if life has been showing you these glimpses for a reason. If every contrast was simply a lesson in disguise, then what happens when you truly integrate it? When you allow yourself to exist in that higher state, not as an escape, but as your new normal. Because the truth is, the more you let go, the further you can go. And isn't it amazing to realise that you're never separate from it to begin with? Because it's interesting, isn't it? How everything you ever experienced, everything you've been through, was never random, never meaningless, but instead a carefully woven contrast, revealing, layer by layer, the very patterns that shape your reality. Because if you felt that deep, unshakable bliss, that connection, that expansive love, then doesn't that mean it's real? That it's possible? That it already exists within you? And yet, for so long, there was a story, a belief, that this state was only accessible through external means, that it had to be triggered by something outside you. But what if that wasn't true? What if those experiences weren't escapes but glimpses? What if they weren't fleeting highs but reminders of who you truly are when you step beyond the limitations, beyond the conditioning, beyond the structures that told you that life had to be a struggle? And you might start to wonder now, what if it was never about recreating the highs, but about dissolving the lows? What if the only thing keeping you from living in that elevated state every single day was the belief that you couldn't? And as you begin to notice just how easily beliefs shape reality, you might also notice something else. That these limiting beliefs, the ones that keep you small, kept you stuck, kept you locked into patterns of lack and struggle, they're not set in stone. In fact, you're already outgrowing them, aren't you? Because the very act of noticing them, it means they no longer have power over you. And the more you release them, the more space you create. The more space you create, the more energy flows. The more energy flows, the higher you rise. And doesn't it feel good to know that you don't have to fight your way to bliss? That you don't have to earn it, chase it, or wait for it. Because what if it was simply a natural state, one that was always meant to be yours? And as you let that thought settle in, as you feel it resonate deeper and deeper, you might just begin to realise, the more you let go, the more you become. The more you surrender the struggle, the more effortlessly life flows. The more you trust, the more you align. And maybe, just maybe, you're never separate from it to begin with.